Hey guys, thank you for tuning in for another episode of Casually Christian presented by Livestream My Event. If this is your first time checking this out, well, here on Casually Christian, we talk about people's lives, their interests, their passions. So if you like your content, please remember to follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify to catch the latest episodes of Casually Christian. Well, today, folks, we're going to talk to a local filmmaker, writer, and actor. He turned his successful play into a movie, and I want to talk to him how he did it, and he has like a major star in his movie, and he's a really nice guy to talk to, like super talented. And well, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, please welcome Paul Tully to Casually Christian for the first time. Paul, thank you for coming on, man.
Hey, no problem. Thanks for having me.
Well, like,
Excuse my walls.
oh,
I'm
don't even worry about it,
work
man.
in the house.
Just should have put like a poster, you know. Well, that's cool,
Yeah, post
man.
for the movie. I could have
Yeah,
put.
yeah. Shameless promotion right there, you know.
Right, right,
Um,
right.
but you know what, man? Like, for those who aren't
Poster.
familiar, oh yeah, there you go. Is that
My
like you?
son and my dad. This is like 20 years ago.
Oh, really, man?
Look how mean my son looks. He doesn't look so happy there,
Because we probably had to what's it called? Yeah, he had to dress up because boys
right?
don't like dressing up.
Right.
Man, that's more like girls like to do that stuff. It's like I have to put
Yeah,
this
that was one
on.
of those, like, I was in the military at the time, and my dad said it was one of those free things at like Ralph's. They were doing like free photo shoots.
Yeah.
So my dad's always looking to like save a buck and get a good deal. So we went there. My son wasn't happy. It was on the way to Legoland.
Well, you know what? Like that's the story that you're gonna tell him. Like he's like older now. Like well, obviously, but
Yeah,
what
he 24.
does he remember that day? Like does he talk about?
No,
Oh, I
I
didn't like
don't
that
think
day.
so.
No.
There were many days like that though. He can remember a lot of those days.
How funny, man. Well, you know what? For those who aren't familiar with your work, can you tell us what like Replica is about? Like your career? Can you tell us about your background?
Yeah, sure. That I mean, I guess background first. I was originally born in Los Angeles, in a city called Downey,
Hmm.
California, and my father's from New York. And when my parents split, I went to New York and lived with my dad. My sister stayed with my mom. So I used to spend the summers out here in California. So I guess I'm a bi-coastal kid. I kind of
Yeah.
always had like the New York and LA kind of upbringing. Um, I, I was in the military. I joined the service in 2001, served till 2005. And when I got out of the service, I was doing different jobs, trying to kind of find out what it was I wanted to do.
Yeah.
I was working in real estate for a while and in jewelry. And I decided to go back to school and use my GI Bill,
Hmm.
but I didn't know what I wanted to take. I really just, honestly, I just wanted to use my GI Bill before I lost it because you only get so long to use it.
Really?
But yeah, at the time, I don't know about now, but at the time, I think you had like 10 years to use it. But I
Hmm.
think now you could pass it to your kids and stuff, which is great.
Oh wow.
But yeah, at the time, I had to use it, and it was like 48 grand or something like that. So I went to the community college. I was living here in Downey, and I
Hmm.
went to Cerritos, and I was just looking at stuff to take. I didn't really know, and I seen a theater class, and I used to act as a kid, more as a hobby in New York.
Hmm.
Grew up in Greenwich Village, and
Yeah.
if you're not familiar with Greenwich Village, it's a lot of artists. I went to school with Scarlett Johansson when we were kids, and
Oh really?
yeah, so it's a lot of people come from that neighborhood. My family's like five generations in that neighborhood, so it's really expensive to live there. But we have rent control. My dad's a working class person, so I was fortunate to be able to live in that community and be introduced to the arts. But I never pursued it after junior high. I just kind of started doing other things, and by high school kind of getting in trouble and dabbling in like um, experimental drugs and
Hmm.
things like this. And I just like a lot of young people do. So anyways, fast forward to I go back to school, and I seen an acting class, like a theater class, and I
Yeah.
thought, wow, man, acting. Yeah, I've always been in love with film and cinema. I just never really seen myself doing it. And I took a class there, and I fell in love with it instantly. I fell in love with acting and
Is
story.
did you take the class with John? I can't pronounce his last name, but John, like his first name is
John
John.
Duran.
Yeah.
Yeah,
No,
I
no, I
think.
mean like the
Oh,
teacher, the
oh,
teacher.
John Zamora.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
yeah. I think my first acting class, I think, was with John Zamora. I
Hmm.
believe, and it was like John Zamora. There were like three professors that stick out in my mind, but John Zamora, um, Oh my goodness, now I'm going. Kenny. I'm trying to think the last name. Oh, forgive me.
It always happens, like when the camera turns on, like
Yeah,
something
yeah. Then you go
to your head,
blank.
you know?
Yeah. But anyways, it'll come to me as we're talking. But yeah, I
Yeah.
took the class there, and really, what did it was when I really knew I had a place in this in theater. I wasn't really a classical theater type of person. I wasn't really intrigued with Shakespeare and these
Mhm.
types of things. But someone in the class handed me a Stephen Adly Gerges play, and they said, "I think you should read this." And I fell in love with Stephen's writing, and
Mhm.
it was a play called Jesus Hops the A Train. It's about, it takes place in New York. Stephen's a native New Yorker, and he writes definitely for urban, contemporary actors, and and now, I mean, I have a friendship with him. I mean, things have blossomed in life.
Mhm.
It's very serendipitous, but that's when I really knew, like, I wanted to pursue it.
That's where I met my buddy John Lance from in that acting class, and that's how he introduced me to you. And you know what's so strange? Because the first time I met you was at a bar in Long Beach, and you were talking to John, and
Mm.
he's like, "Yeah, we have to create our own opportunities because like Hollywood's not going to hire us. We have to do it on our own." And here
Oh,
you are,
wow.
like 10 years later, and I remember that conversation with you. And here you are, 10 years later, and you directed a feature film, which is like it's an endeavor. It's like it's something like it's really hard to do. Like it's just like it's Stanley Kubrick said that making a movie is like writing poetry in a roller coaster. It's just like it's rocky. You're trying to, you know what I mean? And
I
then for
like
you to accomplish it and you have like a name star in it, it's congratulations is what I'm trying to say. You know,
Thank you. Thank you. Wow, what a great story, man. I want to say, yeah, I remember that night. I
it's
don't,
long
but
ago.
no, but I love that you said that. And yeah, yeah, I think my narrative has been the same since day one, and I brought a lot of my I try to bring. I mean, we are who we are, right? We grow
Yeah.
and we adapt and we change
Yes.
as we go. But the
Yes.
truth is, I believe your authentic self is what comes out in most of your work. And all my experiences from childhood and things that happen in the street, and then being able to get into the military, and then 9/11 happening, and then going
Mm.
overseas, and all these experiences I was able to bring into our little, we formed the theater company out of Cerritos, Urban
Yeah.
Theater Movement. That's
Yes.
that's really what launched, like, doing that. And I would bring all the positives I had. There were negatives,
Of
and there were,
course.
lessons I had to learn with a lot of egos and arguments and things that went on with the company, which happens
Yeah.
with every theater company, which is what makes us. I think I was able to put forward into and continue to do that as
Yeah.
as we grow. So
And can you tell us the story of Replica? Can you tell us like what is that all about? Like you know, can you
sure,
share us? Yeah.
sure. So what happened with Replica was, so yeah, it's based on a lot of experiences in my life that I cinematically made into a story, right? But what happened was, I have the theater company, and I was acting artistic director at the time. This is in 2015, and we had this very high, I don't know, a great writer, but also very big in the business. He's written huge projects on Netflix and feature films. He had joined our company, and he's from New York, and we began a friendship and a professional relationship. And when he joined the company, I decided I wanted to produce one of his plays called
Mhm.
Handball, and it was about gentrification in New York City. So we did the play in LA, and then it got taken to New York. We went on tour, and it was an incredible experience. Um, so when we decided to produce the play, he said, "Hey, you know what? Let's do a fundraiser. I have an idea, because we were trying to raise money. It's theater,
Yeah.
so you're always trying to raise money." So he said, "Why don't I teach a writing class for the theater company, and we're charging $100, and any member could take it. It's a 6-week class, and by the end of the class, everybody will write a one-act play, and then I'll just donate all the money towards
Wow.
producing the play."
Yeah.
So I was like, "That's a great idea. Like, you do that, because I mean, this guy's like, a pretty big deal." He said, "Yeah,
Mhm.
absolutely." So that's what we did. I had no interest in writing. I just was like, "Well, I guess I got to take the class to set an example,
Yeah.
right?
Of
I can't like
course.
be the artistic director and not take." So I took the class, And he said the first night we talked, and he said, "All right, I want everybody to go home. So for anybody that might be interested in writing, that or doesn't think they're interested, but give it a shot. Basically, this most simple thing, and a whole story came out was go home, start with a page, pick two characters, one location, doing an activity that you're familiar with.
Mhm.
That was it. So I went home, sat in my kitchen, and my girl was in the living room doing something, and I just started writing. And I started with me and one of my best friends, back in the day, Paul, in a motel room, and I was weighing up methamphetamines. I was weighing drugs,
Yeah.
and then a dialogue started, and that's it. It just started flowing out of me, man. And every week I get, 3 more pages, 4 more pages, and by the end I had a one-act play, and we produced all the plays like in like 2 night, like it was like 2 nights for 3 weeks. Like each night would be 4 different plays, and mine went last. And I mean, every night it was like standing ovation,
Wow.
people falling out of the seat. I was just, it was an unreal experience. Malcolm X, his daughter came one night, Ambassador Shabazz, and she wanted to meet me after. She loved it. We had a lot of celebrities came, and
That's
that was the
incredible, man.
yeah, that was the beginning of Replica, and yeah.
And how long? At what point did you decide to turn it into like a feature film? Like, like name movie stars or like people who were in the business? Were they pushing you to write into a movie?
Kind of what happened was I went to New York to take an acting class and do a. I was taking a class in New York. I was studying with Maggie Flanagan, and a friend kept pushing me. She was here. She kept pushing me to write the full length play. So when I got back to LA, we did that. Then did the play, and it was in one of the runs of the play. All of a sudden, word got out. So like the whole cast of This Is Us and a bunch of different network TV shows, and just started coming to the play again. Big celebrities started coming, and they would like add me on Instagram or
Hmm.
send me DMs and be like, "Hey, I really loved your play." So a manager came that was repping one of the actors and called a meeting with me. He seen the play, and he called me for a meeting in Beverly Hills, and he said, "Do you have a screenplay for this?" And I said, "You know what? I do. I have a loose one, but like my screenplay was in terrible shape. It was basically just a play, you know." So he was like, "Look, man, let's produce it." So he signed me. He represented me, and
Crazy.
then yeah, then about another 2 years though went by of developing, and I had to write this whole script and do readings and readings, and that's what ended up happening.
Wow, man. And from looking back at it, like what do you wish that you knew going into it that you know about it, like something that you didn't foresee, and now like that you already went through it, that you had the knowledge to to know that I should have done something different on your journey to
Mm,
making that writing that script.
nothing,
Nothing.
nothing.
That was a big learning experience, huh?
There's nothing. Actually, it's so unreal to me that this has even happened. And here's the thing. I mean, if you were to ask me if that question was, what would I have hoped could have been different? But it's nothing I could have did because I tried. What I hoped that would have happened is when that manager signed me,
Hmm.
they would have actually financed the film, or they would have actually took it to a studio to get it financed, because I think the film had the kind of chops that if we had more money behind it, or a studio behind it, or even an independent studio.
Yeah.
Because just so you know, and for your viewers to know, man, we financed ourselves. Nobody financed this film. I
Really.
raised $1 million myself. Nobody, like my man, like the company. So even though all these celebrities were like, "Wow," nobody helped.
Hmm.
So, but I tried. I pitched to them. But the thing is, my script is very racy. It's about a
Yeah.
white supremacist neo-Nazi meth dealer and a black trans woman that fall in love. So I mean, studio, nobody really wants to. Everybody wants to see it, but nobody wants to put their name on it
Yeah.
because cancel culture. Everybody's scared, Everybody's like, wow, if this turns out wrong, we're canceled. Or
Hmm.
if this is so, I think I did everything. I interviewed trans directors. I interviewed LGBTQ female directors. Everybody that took the script wanted to do it, and then felt they didn't have enough knowledge on that world as far as the crime and the.
Yeah.
So I didn't want, I wasn't planning to direct. I wanted to be the lead. I
Hmm.
wanted to act, and I
Yeah.
wanted a LGBTQ person of color to direct because of the trans situation.
Yeah.
Um, but it ended up. So what I did was I sent my script to GLAD, which is
Yeah.
a major. Okay, so I sent it to GLAD. And I made sure I went through all the steps that it was approved to do. But so yeah, if the question was what would I have hoped happened, it would have been that I didn't have to raise so much money, and people would have just financed it and put a little more marketing behind it.
And the way like you finance it, did you do like a crowdfunder, or did you like go to different like relatives or to doctors? You know, it was like, hey, do you want to invest in this movie? How did you do it?
So I thought outside the box,
Hmm.
and I have somebody close to me who's an entrepreneur and made a fortune in cryptocurrency
Oh,
over the last 2 years. So they wanted me to come work for them. And basically, this guy's an innovator, and he's constantly, I don't know if innovator is the right word, but he's constantly jumping in on businesses out the ground. So when the pandemic was going on, he had jumped into home COVID tests before they were out. Yeah, I'm talking about in 2020. He was like on it. So he called me, and I was really into working out during the pandemic. I gained 60 pounds. I was like really into running, like marathons.
I mean, like I gained weight during the pandemic
Yeah,
too.
I mean, who didn't? But so he called me. I want to run one day, and he said, "Hey, man, do you? I know you're like one of the best salesmen I've ever met. We've known each other our whole life. He said you want to come sell these COVID tests? I'm making about last month. I made like 130,000." And I said, "You made it was like Wolf of Wall Street. When
Yeah,
the guy was like, show me." That you made $70,000 last month. I come work for you right now. I don't
yeah.
know if you remember that scene. But so I was like, send me proof you made $130,000. So as soon as he did, I was like, cool, listen, I don't want to come work for you. That's not my passion, but I have this film
Hmm.
that you could finance. And that was my first investor. He was like,
Wow,
son of a
that's really
bitch,
like what's so cool like about like the entertainment. Like there is no wrong path. Like however you do it, like
have to
that's how
do
it's
it.
done. You have to do it.
Yeah,
And like back in the day, people used to like they used to get the money like in the dirty way. Like drugs and the mob
right.
and all that. But like that's another story. But like there is no wrong path to getting that money, and that's
Yeah,
that's really remarkable.
yeah,
True.
yeah.
And
Well, drugs, you know what? Don't it's not that that wouldn't be a great idea if you knew some drug dealers. The problem is the odds of losing your money in this business are like 90%. So
yeah,
you definitely don't want to borrow from criminals. They're gonna
yeah,
come take your legs off.
yeah. They're gonna take my thumbs.
Yeah, yeah. So I knew like no, I definitely don't want to do that. But yeah, yeah. There is no right or wrong way. Me, I'm a spiritual guy, man. I believe God puts everything in my
Yeah.
path. I was always taught that God helps those that do the footwork, man.
Mhm.
So if you're doing the footwork and you're going towards it, God's gonna constantly open doors if your head's in the right place. I believe this film needs to be seen whether I don't know whether people love it or not. The message is different.
Mhm.
It's new. It's original. You've never seen this story in your life. You can't go, oh yeah, I've seen a story like that before. You haven't. There
Yeah.
is no story. The closest thing that's been made to this kind of film was in the 90s. There was a film called The Crying Game,
Mhm.
where a straight guy and a I think they were called transvestites at the time, not transgenders. I believe. If
Mhm.
I'm wrong, I forgive me. But it had nothing to do with like a gritty Tarantino-esque violent world with a Mickey Rourke, and I definitely crossed genres here and brought and it's dark. It's not for everybody. It's
Yeah.
definitely for the fans that like stuff like Reservoir Dogs and these kinds of films.
Definitely.
This is that kind of film.
And oh, I had a thought right now. Hopefully I'll think about it. I'm drawing a blank. But do you believe that cancel culture is affecting the way stories are being told right now. That's like, oh, we don't want to touch it. You know what I mean? Like, do you believe in the saying where it's like, go woke or go broke? Or, like if you go
That's
woke, you go broke.
that. You know what? I should say the politically correct stuff right now, man. And here's the thing, man. I'm a human being, and I believe in humanism. That's it. Bottom line, I believe that there are people that are being marginalized,
Hmm.
and they've been marginalized, and we need to do something about that. I was just given a script. We did a reading of it to direct, and it shoots in Mexico, in Puebla, and it's about a woman who immigrates here through a coyote. And I I did a reading. I cast it on, was it Monday? Monday night and Tuesday night. I'm sorry, it was Tuesday night. We did a reading. I brought in some great actors, and nobody seemed to have a problem. The writer, she's Mexican. Her mother immigrated here, and her father. And one of my buddies called me, and he was like, "Wow, man, that's interesting that you're going to direct this movie. Have you thought about this?" And I said, "Have I thought about what?"
Mm.
He said, "Yeah, that's not really your story to tell." I said, "In which way?"
Yeah.
And he said, "Well, it's about a Mexican and immigrating." I said, "All right." I said, "Well, one, that's not the story I'm telling as a director, and that's not the conversation I'm having with the writer. She pegged me because of the spiritual aspects I put in all my films.
Hmm.
Whether you look at my film Atonement, Replica, Crossroads, all of them have these like undertows that I believe is a Tully style. I
Yeah.
believe I have my own lane. I have my own style, and I'm proud of that. And that's why she's pegging me. It just happens to be about a woman who's immigrating from Mexico.
Hmm.
And yeah, I didn't immigrate here, but neither did the writer. So the writer is telling me this. She's like, because listen, I had the conversation with her, by the way, before hiring me. Like, listen, it might not be a good idea. I don't know if it's for me to tell because of the time.
Yeah.
There's a lot of Latinx female directors that would love an opportunity to direct. I gave 5 different conversations. Yesterday was our last one. So that's why I laughed when you asked me. And she's like, dude, I want you to direct, and I'm conscious of what you're saying.
Yeah.
If you don't want to take the job, don't take the job. And I said, no, I absolutely want the
Yeah.
job. And I don't know if I'm wrong. I don't know if people are going to go, oh, dude, you're a white male. You could have gave this job to someone. I'm like, I'm not in that position, and I'm an artist.
Yeah.
First, I'm an artist that's telling a story. I didn't. So yeah,
Yeah.
but
It's like,
so yes, I do think cancel culture is definitely affecting more than just arts. I think it's affecting just the rationality of what's happening with people. I mean,
mhm.
we're so fast to just yesterday I seen Terrell Owens from the NFL posted a video where a white woman on his street, good thing he was videotaping. She like called the cops. She accused him of harassment. Terrell Owens, he's a
Mhm.
Super Bowl champion. And like this is a major NFL football player. And he's like, lady, I'm not following you.
Yeah.
You've been screaming at me. And I'm like, stuff like that is happening. So I understand why there is a cancel culture, but that woman's actions, that Karen's actions are are just as extreme as jumping and canceling somebody because like she's attacking him because he's a black man. To
Yeah.
me, that's just as bad as like, oh, I heard Paul did this, cancel him. And it's
Hmm.
like, oh, what happened to let's figure out what's going on with people first.
Yeah. I see.
So
Like they're quick to cancel. Quick to judge right away, and like uh, talking about like directing a movie about like an immigrant. Like Spielberg, he got a lot of controversy in the '80s when he directed The Color Purple because he was an African American. He was a Jewish white guy. And that wouldn't happen today. Like if The Color Purple came out today, they would not let a white man direct that movie. It would be like someone of color. So it's just very strange. I think like people are forgetting like that. That we're all human and we all like like we could identify empathize with the character like that you're trying to direct or portray. And
yeah,
like right now the recent controversy right now is with James Franco
James
because he's playing
Franco.
Yeah, he's playing Fidel Castro, and everybody's up in arms. I mean, I could see the way why they casted him because, like, well, one, he's a star, and two, like, he has the facial features of him. But then I could totally see where my community, the Latin community is like, it's like there's plenty of Latin actors that could
Yeah.
portray Fidel Castro. But I guess in the side of the people who are financing the movie, they need a star to be in the movie to draw the people in. Uh,
Yeah, see, I don't understand. I mean, as just producing my own film with it with a name like Mickey Rourke, I mean,
yeah,
these guys are not cheap. And I'm curious to know who made that call with James Franco. Here's the thing: as much as I'm all for actors should be able to act. Um, I mean, Andy Garcia plays Italians all the time.
yeah,
I'm Italian. He's not Italian. I never had a problem with it, nor would I. He's phenomenal. I loved him in Untouchables playing in Italian. I loved him in The Godfather 3 playing in Italian. Um, John Leguizamo, who is leading the Latino movement, and I know John. I was in a movie with John. I
hmm
just went and hung out with John in New York, in Harlem, when he did his clown show. But I questioned John in the 90s. You played an Italian.
yeah,
Summer of Sam, a Spike Lee movie.
hmm
So a black man directed a movie with a poor Ecuadorian, I believe he is, playing an Italian.
yeah,
So if we're gonna say it, let's say it correctly. Now, if the argument is just merely it's because people of color are not getting the opportunities that white actors are. So we're just trying to even out the employment opportunity. Okay, that's the conversation. But if it's that a white person shouldn't tell a story of a person of color, well, then a person of color should not play or tell a story about a white person.
hmm
And I think John was great in the movie, is what I'm saying. I think Spike Lee's phenomenal. I think Andy Garcia is brilliant. I love him playing. He could be, I would love to have him in a movie. But then again, like some of my friends would go, yeah, but Paul, you're in a privileged position to say that. And I'm like, okay. So the conversation gets crazy because I'm like,
yeah.
privilege. I'm not
So what are you
getting
talking about?
jobs thrown
Yeah,
at me.
yeah,
I'm raising money to finance my project. I don't know, man. It's what I try to do is just human, whatever's fair. As
yeah,
far as James Franco playing Fidel, I can't fathom to imagine why they made that call with all the amazing Latin actors. And he was on top of that, he was Me Too. So you're talking
yeah,
about a Me Too actor who I've heard from people that worked with him, he wasn't like that. That's what I've heard, that he is a good guy and that
yeah,
he's one of us and um, he's a craftsman. So I've heard good things about him, but I was never there or involved. But
yeah.
I mean, you're talking about a guy Me Too, and now you're casting him as a Cuban. I don't know why they made
Yeah.
that call, but I'm curious to see where this project goes.
And since we're talking about like like famous actors such as like Spike Lee, or I mean like famous celebrities, directors. Who were your influences? Like, do you have like a favorite filmmaker, favorite actor that you just admire their work and you hope to someday have like a career like them? Is there somebody that comes to mind?
It's absolutely. Well, as far as having a career, like, no, I don't. I've missed that boat for the people I admire because I admire first and foremost Martin Scorsese.
Yeah, definitely.
Obviously, he's my guiding light and influence. Um, Quentin Tarantino obviously is incredible. As far as actors, I mean, Al Pacino is my favorite actor. Um, I could never have careers like those guys because they've already had 40-year careers and I'm too old. But what I could do is have Paul Tully's career. So where I'm
That's
at
good.
today at my age, you know, um, and I think it's a good place for anybody to be, is not compare myself to anybody else's careers or anybody else's victories or losses because we all have our own story. And it sounds cliche, but
It's
it's a
true.
much healthier way to live because
Yeah.
this business will make you bitter and resentful and you give up. I've seen I would say 8 out of 10 people that I started with have all given up. They're
Mhm.
not doing this
It
no
is
more.
hard, man. It is definitely hard
Yeah,
because, like, not only because you were constantly getting rejected, but like again, we had to pay the bills, and you have to work for corporate America to get that paycheck, and then things get crazy with the home life. You have a kid, you get married, or it's like it becomes impossible to pursue your passions, and you get a little bitter, you get jaded that then that you couldn't continue pursuing your passion, whatever it may be.
yeah.
But like I went to film school about like 20 years ago, and like I had some successes, and nothing that I wished that I wish I'm gonna be 40 soon. I'm like, fuck. And when I was like out of high school, I was like, I'm gonna be so famous. When I'm a 40-year-old man, I'm gonna be the new Latin Spielberg. But
Yeah.
like it's just so much adversity going into the entertainment industry. Not only because it's hard, but like also because I'm somebody of color, and like when I was talking to people, they right away put me in the box. It's like, oh, what is your screenplay about? Like, what kind of Mexican music do you have in your screenplay? I'm like, what are you talking about? Oh, I have Weezer and Radiohead. They're already like, it's just hard because like being a minority, they put you in the box, and
Yeah.
I mean, for you being like an Italian American, are they putting you in the box? I mean, you did say that why are you directing this movie with with
L-
immigrant,
Listen,
but
listen, man. I refuse to be put in a box. Again, no matter what I say on this platform, people are gonna say you're white, dude. You got
Mhm,
white privilege, bro. You
mhm,
could only a white man could say they refuse to be put in a box. But I disagree because I study greats like David Goggins that aren't in the film business. I study guys like that. I study motivational speakers that I study people that have done absurd things and extraordinary things in ordinary life. The problem is, I believe as artists, the truth is we just want to be famous, man, and we just want to be validated. And
yeah,
right when you do that, you're a slave to the masters of this business.
mhm,
Think outside that box, man. You're going to be 40. I'm 44. I just
mhm,
made Replica. So you're saying, man, I never went to film school.
mhm,
I don't even know what a 4K is. I started Replica,
yeah,
brother. Nothing. So my point is, there's nothing that can't be done. I'm saying this, it has nothing to do with race, skin color, being put in a box, being marginalized. Dude, nobody financed my movie. I went out and got the financing. Once I had that seed investor that believed in me and we were like, let's do this. Boom. That was
yeah,
60,000. I put it towards a name. Boom, get that name. Anyone could do that. Don't matter if you're brown, black, green.
crazy,
Anybody's gonna take that paycheck, bro. So you go get a name, and then from that name, you got to go meet other people, and you got to hustle. And then that's the only way. I don't know because I can't give a success story. I'm not like a head of a studio, and I'm
yeah,
not hired by a studio yet. So everything I'm saying, any race could do. Anybody could do
yeah.
what I did. So
It's just you have to,
too late, man.
yeah.
It's
That's
too
good.
late to be it's too late to be a 25-year-old heartthrob with millions of money like DiCaprio.
Yeah,
That's why I tell you I'll never have De Niro's career. It's too late.
yeah,
But I can be 45-year-old Paul Tully who has this story, which could blow up and be the biggest thing in the world. Let's face it. Doesn't matter if you were big at 25, Christian, or
mhm,
if you're getting your work done at 55. It doesn't matter. As long as you get your work done and whatever your mission in life is, my mission is hopefully to inspire through my own life experiences. That's what Replica is. That's what all my films are. So I'm achieving that. As far as will I be fame, I learned a long time ago through theater. If you're chasing fame,
mhm,
get ready for an ugly, painful ride. And you deserve that painful ride.
mhm,
Because that's like someone saying, yo, bro, I'm going to do anything I can to get rich. I'm going to
yeah,
get rich or die trying. And when you end up in jail and you end up shot because you were like, yo, I'm going to flip keys and I'm going to do drug because I want them chains and that whole shit that comes with the street life, then you deserve what happens. Well, I say to artists the same thing. If
mhm,
you come into this like, oh, I'm going to be famous and my mom's going to be so proud and I want to see her cry and I'm going to take her to the Oscars, we all want that.
yeah.
Every single person wants that. So instead of making that your goal, think bigger and outside the box. Like spiritually, why are you doing it?
Yeah.
And maybe doors will open, and then guess what? Your mom will be by your side, and your mom will be proud, and you'll be like, "Wow, I made it happen." But don't chase fame, man. Chase the work. Chase the
That's
message.
very inspiring, man. Like that's very inspirational. Like, wow, that's a really good pep talk.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's gonna help out a lot of people who watch this interview because that's very good. That's good advice. You know.
Yeah, not to overspeak on that, just for people watching, like think of it like this. Whether you make a short film for $500 or a film for $500,000, whether your film, like ask yourself, does it really matter that your film's in the movie theaters, on HBO, on Netflix, or that your film got made?
Mm,
Because if you're doing it just because you want to get that story on film,
yeah.
that's all that matters. So you're a winner, even if it only went on YouTube and
Yeah.
it got 500 views. You're still a winner. You did it. You got your messages. So if you think that way, you're gonna appreciate. It's like going to the gym, right? When you go to the gym and you're like, dude, this week I went 5 pounds heavier. The next week, 5 pounds heavier. You could look at the guy over there hitting 400 pounds and be like, I'm never gonna get there. You can. That's up to you. Then turn around and leave.
Yeah.
Or you could just stay with that grind, stay, and then before you know it, you're gonna be that guy hitting the 400 pound. It's just a process of life. So when people tell me, man, I've been doing this 20 years and it just didn't work for me because of this, I'm like, all I'm hearing is excuses
Mm,
because there's so many people who've been doing it for less time and went around it. And then yes, there are people that just get around. You're right.
yeah. Yeah.
They show up, they get the right audition. It happens.
Yeah.
Almost everybody I know that's working earned it. They work
And
hard.
that's I mean that's really good, man. Like that's inspirational and like and when just going back to your movie,
Mhm.
what was it like? Did Mickey Rourke come to a table reading, or did he just show up on the set and I'm like, all right, let's rock and roll, let's start shooting? Like, how was it directing like a major actor? You know, like were you intimidated by it? Were you like like second guessing your choices? What was your experience?
Uh, Good question. So to go down the line, no, he didn't come to. We did one table read. And like Nikki Turturro, Glenn Plummer, all the more named James Russo. These are all iconic actors. Mickey Rourke. None of them came to the table read, right?
Mhm.
Um, the leads came, and um, basically I went to Mickey's house, took the script. Um, they have their own preparation, especially someone like Mickey Rourke.
Yeah.
He's been doing this a long time. Um, did I second guess myself? No, I didn't because I knew my story well. I knew what I wanted to execute. I mean, obviously you have those like like, oh wow, the excitement.
Yeah.
Definitely have the excitement, but uh I think knowing what it is you want, and if you don't know what you want, oh, I lost you. Is that
Can you see me? I'm here.
sorry, I think I was getting a call, so it messed up my computer. I
Yeah.
don't see you, but oh, there
Uh,
we go. Okay,
yeah. Okay.
so
Cool.
I think yeah. I mean, I personally didn't second guess my choices, but I'm also very collaborative. So with actors, because I'm an actor, because I come from the theater, um, you know, the way I work, and I've worked this way on all my stuff. I've done 3 short films that I wrote and directed, and then this was my first feature. And on everything I work on, even when I direct plays, I love to see actors bring choices, and I'm very loose with that.
Yeah.
So it was a great honor and great pleasure to see all of them. Mickey, everybody, Nick. I definitely got to shout out the leads, man. Jeremy, Luke, Alexandra Gray, incredible work. I brought in actors that I've worked with before that I consider my team. I have definitely, if you watch my movies, you see some of the same actors.
Mhm.
They're people I've been working with for almost a decade, and just to watch them come in, and even when they were in the smaller scene, just completely steal the scenes, just completely,
Yeah.
just rock the scenes, and you're like, damn, I only gave them like, 10 lines and they're just incredible. And there's something about that. There's something about the theater actor that prepares and breaks down beats and moments. And I love watching. So,
Yeah. It sounds like because you're an actor and being a director help you communicate with your with actors. Like you guys were on the same page.
for sure.
Yeah, and what was the schedule like? Did you shoot for like a whole month, or do you guys only shoot like on the weekends? Like, what was it like? Was it just nonstop until you guys finished it?
Yeah, yeah, we went hardcore. We did the impossible, man. I shot the film in 12 days with a
Oh
pickup.
shit! Oh yeah,
So
wow.
it was just gun and run. I averaged 2 takes two shots per take.
Hmm.
Two takes go. I mean, some we had to spend a little more time on, but for the most part, um, I would get everything in 2 takes. Um, we set up. I mean, we did a great job in pre-production. So it was having the locations. So if we're shooting at this location inside, we're shooting outside for a whole nother location.
I see. Yeah, because it
No,
just so you won't have to get all the stuff. You just have to go outside.
that's right.
Or yeah.
So right, we already have the trucks pull up. Gaffers bring all the gear, and that's all part of scout. At the location scouting
Hmm.
and just planning. So one piece of advice I'll give you, anybody making their film, even if it's a short film, it's pre-production is everything from your shot list. If you're mapped out, because you're definitely gonna have to pivot. You're gonna have to pivot each day. Something comes. Day one, it was like I had my lead actor had COVID, and we were like, "Oh my goodness!" And we had to retest him 3 times, and
Yeah.
he was negative. It was a false positive, but I mean that almost shut us down right there. Like our lead actor, he's in every scene.
Yeah.
So, then we had another actor, Noel G plays, but I had an actor cast in that's on the show called The Mayans, and then they had to pull out for a schedule. Then I cast another actor from a Netflix show. He got COVID on Friday. We started shooting on Monday. So over the weekend, we ended up casting Noel, and he came in, didn't have much time to prepare, and just did an incredible job. When you see his performance, like, holy shit! So just having dedicated people ready to
Absolutely.
go, and yeah,
Yeah, man. Something about like always trying to make a movie, like everything just kind of starts falling apart. It's like there's always like it's like the world's trying to stop you.
yeah.
It's like what's going on, you know?
Yeah,
I just found it very humorous.
I look at it like a test of how bad do you want this and how prepared are you. Again, see how I look at things? Because you're right. Most people look at that and go, "Man, what? Something's trying to stop me. Maybe I shouldn't be
Yeah,
making this movie." No, no, no. I see it like, "Oh, I see who that's an obstacle because I
yeah,
got to show how
yes.
bad I want it." God wants to know, how bad do you want this? How prepared are you? Did you
Mhm.
just show up and wing it? Or did you have this ready? So when Mickey comes, it don't matter to me if it's Mickey, right? Because I'm so
Yeah,
prepared.
yeah,
It's like when Mike Tyson talks about getting in the ring, he used to be like, I'm scared to death. He used to be like, I gotta take the shit. I'm scared to death
yeah,
until the music starts. And then he's like, I'm gonna kill this mother. I don't know if I can
yeah.
cut.
You
I'm gonna
cuss.
his babies. I'm gonna kill this motherfucker.
Yeah,
Like that's how Mike Tyson's like a beast, right? He's like, I'm gonna eat this motherfucker's kids.
yeah.
Like he was ready once the fight was on. But all the way up to the fight, he said he was scared to death. Like, what if I get knocked out? What if I get
Mm.
embarrassed? What if I get humiliated? So it's good for all of us. Like, that's why I study people, not just in film, man. When I talk to my like actor friends and stuff, they're like, yeah, I just listened to this podcast of actors. And I'm like, why do you study just actors? What's an actor going to teach you in like that? Mike Tyson, like that little gem that Tyson just said, the fact that he gets scared makes me know it's okay if I'm scared.
Hmm.
He's the toughest motherfucker on the
Yeah,
planet at the time. And if he's scared, I've been scared to fight growing up. So when you think back and go, man, I was a pussy that day I ran.
yeah.
It's like, no, everybody gets scared. It's what do you do with the fear? Be
Hmm.
prepared is number one.
Yeah,
So I like to learn and I live this artistic life, but through the lens of all kinds of athletes, business people, all kinds of different um disciplines. And
yeah.
it helps.
I've been, I've been watching recently a lot of interviews with film directors, and one week I was watching Scorsese, and it's just very amazing to hear him talk about like his career. And he says till this day he still gets nervous, going on set. I'm like, wow, this is a professional. This is Scorsese. He's still getting nervous about like being on set, and that's why he prepares. Like he does everything beforehand. So when he's there, he's just like if there's like something that needs to change, he already knows how to, maneuver through it. And it's just very inspiring to hear like established, like iconic film directors sound human. They are human. Like they all get intimidated and scared, but it's how you handle yourself on set. It's like you have to puff up your chest and be confident about it. It's like, oh, all right, well, we'll get this the extra. We'll put the extra as the lead now because we can't. The lead, he got in a car accident or something.
Right. Well, I think the minute in any industry, whether you're an actor, a filmmaker, you work at the post office, anybody in life, the moment it becomes a job, get the fuck out.
Yeah.
Dude, the moment life is not scaring you, the moment coming into work is not, your stomach's not in knots, and you're not like, fuck, what are you doing, dude? Like, you just clocking in? Why? Because you
Yeah.
have to pay your bills? There's other ways to pay your bill. But that, again, that's, I don't know everyone's situation. You might have three
Yes.
kids at home. That's another reason I tell people, I didn't start this till my son was like in high school.
Hmm.
So for
It
me,
was
my
different.
son, he got a football scholarship. He's been out on his own since he left for college. He
Hmm.
just bought his own house in Riverside. I'm alone. I have a dog. And
Yeah.
and I broke up with my ex relationship because I was like, man, I don't want to have kid. Like, not my son's mom. I'm saying like
Yeah.
I made sure I have my life set to where all I have to do is cover the bare minimum.
Hmm.
And it's important if you're out there and you're like, oh, I want to be, and anything you want to do that doesn't pay well, like being an artist, being an athlete, you got to be willing to be in the gym for 5 hours if you're training to be some kind of athlete to maybe get sponsors later, because the money's not going to come for us till later. So just setting up your life to be realistically affordable, to where you can maybe just drive Lyft for a few hours and cover your
Yeah.
basic bills. Once you get into kids and a mortgage, and
It's a different ball game.
then you do have to clock in and you do have to
Yeah. Man
be
up.
at
And
work.
yeah. Unfortunately, like, yeah, it's I'm glad I'm a gay man. I only have fur babies, so my,
Yeah.
like, I don't really, my life is different than my buddy. He's a recent father, so his life completely changed. Like, I know I'm not going to really hang out around with him too much now because like he has a son and that's his priority. Completely understand, it's just how it is. And it's just,
Yeah.
it's, he has to go in and clock. He doesn't like his job, but he does it.
Yeah.
But
Well, he'll figure it out too, right? It's not that he, like, you won't find a passion. You just might have to be a little more strategic, right? Like
mhm,
like when my son was little, I went in the military. I mean, I had to make a decision, and I went and I served overseas. I mean, you make decisions. But then as he got older, it's like, oh, now I could really do things I want to do. So I think you just maybe have to sacrifice for a
tweak it a
little while,
little bit.
until you figure out maybe your friend wants to go back to school and become, and that's all possible. I think that's what life is, man. It's not about being a filmmaker or an actor or it's just doing what makes you happy. And, hey, and by the way, if I have friends that do, just they have 9 to 5s and they love their 9 to 5. Like
Mhm.
my buddy's a plumber. He loves it. He's
Yeah,
not like,
of
oh fuck,
course.
I gotta clean shit. He
Yeah.
enjoys it. He goes. He likes helping families every day. That's an honorable thing. He
Mhm.
shows up, and my sink just broke. Like this morning, I was like, damn it. And I was trying to fix it. I can't. I got to call a plumber. And I'm like, thank goodness there's plumbers to be like,
Yeah.
hey, dude, I can't even shave now. They're going to fix that. And that's
Mhm.
honorable. And some people do enjoy doing that. So
Yeah,
there's
of
nothing
course,
wrong with a nine to
of
five,
course.
Yeah.
I completely agree. And what would you say to the naysayers of of people who were talking to you, like, who don't understand what you're doing? What would you say to people who would say like you live in a fantasy world, like making movies and all that stuff? Like, you don't bother with those people, or do you like actually like put them in their place? Like, well, you know what, this is what I want to do. Um, uh,
Um, I don't bother with that. I don't even, I couldn't even, I wouldn't even comprehend to entertain their opinion. I
mhm,
respect everybody's opinion. But if somebody, first of all, I've never had nobody tell me that, but then again, maybe. But let's just say hypothetically, somebody's like, "Dude, you're a joke. Like, big deal. Hi, you think you're bad. You made a movie with make it." I literally anyone saying anything like that has something going on with themselves. So I already
yeah,
am intelligent enough to be like,
to
"Hey,
understand.
I value your opinion. Thank you. Move it on." I don't get in arguments anymore. I'm 44. Um, But I think that anybody who has that train of thought, I pray on them for them, because I know that means they've given up on a dream.
Yeah.
Because anybody who's accomplished their dream doesn't think that way. So even if, for example, your dream's to own a photography store or a gym, my buddy owns a gym across the street from my house here. That's where I go. He loves it. He's fit. You know, he loves getting fit. He loves his business. That guy would never tell me you're living a dream, because he's living his dream. So people who are winners and that chase, and remember, whether you have a million podcast followers, or I have no idea how many you have, never looked, but whether you have 5 or 5 million, dude,
Mhm.
you're doing something. You gave me a platform today, which I appreciate. You're giving audiences something to listen to.
Yeah.
You're, to
Thanks.
me, that's a success. It doesn't matter if you're Joe Rogan. Joe Rogan started out, and I think anybody who comes from a motivated go-getter type of attitude supports each other. Anybody who's not
Agree.
supporting you is just hating, and
Yeah.
something's going on in
Yeah.
them. You know,
Yeah. There's
so,
something external, like something behind their, behind it. It's like, where did
and
that
I
come from?
yeah, and I understand that, by the way. Believe me, many times I've seen friends. I have, but at this point, I have friends on most of the TV shows that are out. I'm friends with these people. I have friends big. I'm not like brag. I'm saying, like, because I've been in the
Yeah.
business now 15 years. So I have friends that have blown up that I'm like, damn, like they're way up, dude. Like rich. And listen, when it happens, it hits you sometimes. Like, but there's a difference of it hurting, as in, fuck, man, I missed it. Why not me?
Mhm.
And then going, good for them. God bless them. It's possible. I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah.
That's the difference. When
Yes.
you get, everyone's gonna feel the envy, dude. People who say, "No, I'm never envious." Like, well, good for you. I get envious. Don't get me wrong. I see a deadline drop, and I have a friend like just landed like my friend Gabby. She just booked the series regular. Her whole life is changing, and I'm so proud of her. But there's that
It's only
fear of like,
human.
it's
Yeah.
human to be
Yeah.
like, oh, is this never going to happen for me? When my deadline dropped, when Mickey Rourke's up, bro, believe me, I got tons of congratulations, and I know the people. This is how petty I am. My friends that didn't congratulate me, people from my theater company, people from Cerritos College
Mhm.
that didn't reach out to me. I'm like, really, dude? Because you heard about it, and it's
Yeah.
on
Of
all of our
course.
Instagrams, and I'm like, so I know they're living in that. I know it's like,
Yeah. A little resentment or something like that, or
yeah,
animosity. Yeah.
and I'm past being like, ha ha, motherfucker. Like I'm not on
Yeah.
50 Cent type of stuff.
Yeah.
I'm on like, yo, man, you're gonna do it too, dude. If I can,
You could do
not
it.
that I've
Yeah.
made it, but if I could achieve this little bit of my dream, you will too, bro. You just got to do the work, and that's
Absolutely.
all.
Yeah, man. And it's it really, again, it's like your mindset. It's just like either you're setting yourself barriers if you're like, oh, I can't do it because I'm old, or like I don't have the money. Like they're like, again, like I'm going back. I was watching about a lot of interviews about film directors, and everybody from David Fincher to Coppola to Scorsese, like you could make a short movie on your phone now. Like it's totally possible.
Yeah,
You don't have to shoot it on 16 or 35. They're advocating us, like me, it's like to do something, just shoot it with your phone. Like, wow, that's
yeah.
really cool, man. Like, so yeah, it's just I'm looking for the right story right now, and eventually I'll start directing a short
Let me
film. So
know, man. Listen, and if you want to get involved, I got 2 short films right now. I just got pegged to direct. Like I said, they're short films. One shooting in Mexico, one shooting in New York. If there's anything, man, if you just want to learn, be part of like
thank you.
experience. I mean, you went to film school, so you probably could teach me some things. But that's part of it too, man. It's getting involved. Listen, I've always used to preach this in UTM. Some people would listen, some people wouldn't. Some people, it's making yourself available to other people's projects.
Hmm.
There's like a thing like, what are you bringing to the table? I've always been an advocate of that. I study the mafia like hard. I'm like a mafia nerd on like studying. Yeah, I'm one of those guys that like you
The
can ask me
Godfather and
anything
stuff.
about, yeah, not just the movies. I mean like the books, the real life stuff.
Yeah.
Because I grew up in that neighborhood,
Yeah.
that was a real thing in our neighborhood. Like like
Yes.
so anyways, um what the reason I bring that up is there's so much you learn from that structure alone. Now, I don't want to be in the mob. I don't want to kill people or hurt people or break the law, but it doesn't mean the way they structured some of their businesses weren't so smart and intelligent. Same with the military. I mean, they took a lot of their structure from the military. So study people. That's all I say is don't just study Scorsese, Tarantino, Spike Lee. Don't just study people in our craft. That's
Other.
my that's my advice I'd give out today. And I'm not anybody yet.
Mm.
But if you even like some of what I've done or go, damn, like he did get some success, that's how I do it, man. It's not me sitting in just studying actors. Dude, an actor, yes, I'll study the craft because you got to be able to be a craftsman. But I study how successful people get to where they go in all fields. Look at Elon Musk, man. There's so much, whether good or bad, but this dude's innovative as
Mhm.
hell. You know what I mean? Like when you listen to the way he structures his time in his day, or Nick Roll, or I mean Rich Roll, or these other motivational people, and you just go, wow, like it's interesting. Study it all, man. Don't box yourself into
Yeah.
I have to study only Italian culture or Latino culture. Bro, there's so many empires that have existed in the world, from the Aztecs to the Romans to the Persians to the like. Why would you just study one? And that's another thing with me. I'm very open to all cultures, and I want to learn from everybody. Everybody has different family values and structures and patriotism. So I think being a successful person is being open to all these avenues.
Totally agree, man. Like I've been watching also like the UK version of Dragon Shark, and it's very entertaining because like the film investors are very stuffy. They seem like from Hogwarts, you know what I mean, with their accent, and but the way the people pitch to them is like, wow, they totally screwed it up because they come in arrogant or they don't know their numbers, like you know what I mean. It's just like because we're selling ourselves. I mean, yeah, they're selling like something for the bathtub or whatever, but it doesn't matter. It's like the way they pitch themselves, and how clear they are. It's like I'm learning how to pitch by watching this show, and it's not film, it's not anything about film,
Right.
but they're still selling themselves, and how it's like the investors are like, I want to work with you because you're easy to, you don't look stuck up. You're very enjoyable. I want to work with you. It's really they're investing in the person, not so much on the product. Of course, the product is a thing, but the first thing they always say, we're investing in you. So you
Yeah.
just have to you can't be a jerk when you're talking to people. You just have to be very very friendly and open. And yeah, I just don't get like the how directors like could turn out to be like smug bastards, and they're like, I don't get it. There is no room for that anymore. There's no room to be a dick anymore.
It's easy, man. I went into a meeting 2 weeks ago, and they fired the director and just offered me the job. So I'm actually, I was just getting a call from them, and I'm deciding if I'm going to take it. But I get where the director was at because I used to be that guy. So I
Mhm.
used to be very insecure, and when I was running UTM, I was insecure a lot of times. A lot of times I would like get in arguments with people because I was fearful, right?
Mhm.
Because I think what happens in this business is you work so hard to get a piece of the pie, and when you get a small crumb, it's the crabs in a bucket. And
Yeah.
and when we get a crumb, we want to hold on to it. And sometimes you got to just learn how to be collaborative, which I have learned to do, and how to walk in a room and play your position. But yeah, like I just watched this director literally give his job to 2
Wow.
weeks ago, and it was crazy. And he opened up the floor for input on the project. I had come on as a producer, and I pitched
Yeah.
some ideas just as a producer, and the other producers were like, "Oh, let's do that." But part of that idea was let's hold this production, raise another 50,000 to shoot this short as a open in the pilot. And
Yes.
this director flipped out on me, dude. Literally, he like wanted to fight me, not like, but
Yeah,
like he
but
was yelling at me.
yeah.
And I wasn't intimidated at all because, but I was like, "Hey, I'm sorry you feel that way." And dude, he left this meeting and they fired
Serious.
him.
Wow.
And I
So
was
did
like,
he feel
"What?"
like you were stepping on his toes or something? Is that like,
Totally. What it was I pitched. He asked. We were at a producers meeting, so it was me and other producers, and I was just coming on as what's called like a field producer. So I was going to help them get like some locations and some talent, not even like doing a big. I was just gonna have some actors that I have good relationship with. I was gonna, get attached to the project, and he asked us for input on the like, hey, let's talk about some ideas of the script. What are you
Mhm.
guys thinking? So I said mine, and mine were to. I don't want to say on the
Yeah,
podcast
yeah,
what the
I
idea was.
understand.
But it's a fantastic idea if I do say so myself, and it definitely elevates the script. But what pissed him off was I didn't mean it this way, but I said, listen, I'll bring 60,000 if I can bring 60 more thousand to the project through one of my investors. I would just want a co-creator credit because I changed
Yes.
the script,
Understandable.
and
Yeah.
I'll still let you direct. I meant it like most people, if they're going to bring money, directors, they're going to want to try to direct. And
Mhm.
I said, I'll still let you direct. Like, in other words, I'm not trying to take your job, dude. He went crazy.
That's
He was like, "What'd you say? You're gonna let me direct?" He slammed the table.
I would love to see that.
It
I
was it was awesome. But the reason I'm laughing is because I used to be kind of that kind of guy. And so I knew the reason I'm saying is I knew where he was coming from and I understood. Like,
yeah.
first of all, dude, you got insecure because and he has never directed anything yet.
Mhm.
That's why. So for him, it was like
Yeah.
this was his opportunity. And I
You felt
was not
threat.
trying to take it, but he gave up his job, which is like,
Yeah.
wow,
Yeah.
so
It's the ego. Yeah, it sucks,
ego.
man. Like, hopefully, people learn from like when they get older, they start maturing. But sometimes some people don't, and it sucks for them. It's just
Yeah,
it is what it is for them.
it's part of the journey, man. Like you said, it's learning to talk to people, learning to be open, and we all have to learn it.
Yeah,
So
we're on the
and
same
this
boat, man.
business is full of that. That's what I'm saying, man. It's like I don't even think just a business. Life is full of that. Like when I was in the military, man, your commanding officer, they yell at you. They make you fucking mop the decks. You know what I mean? I remember in boot camp, I had this RDC. He was African American, and he would do inspections on us. And I have a hairy chest.
Oh,
So I remember one time he was like, "What are you, one of those Italians?" And saying Italian is offensive. That's a
oh,
slur. It's Italian. So people used to go like, those Italians over there. So he literally offends me in line, we're for me. Then he tells me, he pulls my shirt down and makes me go shave my chest. Says I'm
what?
too hairy. My people are too hairy. So
Jeez.
yeah. So you know what I did? I shaved my chest because I'm in the military,
Mhm.
and that's the job I picked. And I stayed quiet and I played the game because it's a game. He's breaking me down.
Yeah.
Right? By the end, when I was bulked up and we graduated, he also shook my hand and and
Saluted
it was
you.
like it was so emotional. And he didn't call me shitbag no more. He called me, shipmate, which means like
Shipmate.
shipmate in the Navy means like brother. So it was break us down to build us up.
Yeah.
And that's how life is. And some people's egos are too big to be broken down or to be put in check or to play
Yeah.
their position. Everybody wants to be the chief. And so I think the military helped me in that. So I'm able to do that in life sometimes. There's a difference of being a coward and playing your position. Total huge
Two different
difference.
things.
Some people can't swallow that, right?
Yeah.
So yeah.
Well, what a great interview. I got to tell you, man. Like, Paul, I mean, I appreciate you coming on my show. You got to, where can people follow you, man? Do you have like Instagram, Facebook, YouTube?
Please follow me, man. Please follow me. I'm at P Tully UTM on Instagram or Paul Tully on Facebook. Replica, you could Google Replica by Paul Tully. The film right now is in the middle of distribution deals. So once we select the deal that we're going to take, then we'll know where the film. That's why I couldn't let you
Yeah, I
share the
understand.
trailer.
Yeah,
Although I want your people to see the trailer. Is
yeah,
great. I just we're not allowed to yet until we get a home. So say like Netflix buys it, then they share the trailers and
yeah.
do all
And
the
you'll have
promo.
the link and all that. And
Of
once
course,
you do have the link, we'll put it on Casually Christian or our platform so people check it out.
it'd be
You know,
great.
and that'll be awesome. And if there's a premiere, please invite me.
Of course, you're
I would love
invited.
to watch the movie like in the theater with you. That would be awesome. That would be that would be sick. But yeah,
Yeah,
man,
for sure.
thank you for coming on the show, dude. It was very enjoyable to talk to, very inspirational too.
Thank you, man.
You're a good person. I hope I could see like a bright future, like in your filmmaking career. Like it's gonna happen, dude. I think this is just
Thanks,
the
man.
stepping stone to better things.
Same for you, man. And
Thank you,
I'm
sir.
here to support anything I could do.
Thank you, Paul.
I'm here for you.
I appreciate it, dude. Well, I'm gonna let you go. I'm gonna close out the show, and
Okay.
yeah, thanks guys for watching Casually Christian today. I really appreciate it. If you guys want to double up your own podcast, please hit up my friend Emmanuel Alvarado at his company Live Stream My Event. He'll set you up in the same way, and he'll hook you up. Well, if you haven't already, please follow us on Facebook, YouTube, and Spotify. Well, until next time, folks, that is our show. I'll see you guys for our midweek update soon, and have a good weekend. Bye, guys.